Hello. Welcome. Good morning.
It really unnerves me when the music goes off like that.
I know. And
Like everything's breaking.
you don't know. But with JP, it's not breaking. But it's okay. Everybody, you found the right side. And if you feel like you've just jumped in the middle of a conversation, welcome to our world, because we basically talk to each other almost 24/7. And you're always in the middle of a conversation. And you know what they say in the world of writing? It's the best place to start. So welcome to the right side. I'm Amy Beth. She's Allison. He's JP. We've got a banger of a show for you today. And part of that show may or may not involve tinfoil hat wearing and allegedly, because today is Tuesday and we spill the tea on Tuesday.
What's up,
Sure,
brother?
we're not your average show. I know the world has Taco Tuesday. However, here we spill the tea. And today we're going to spill the tea in the form of asking a lot of questions. And maybe a whole segment and a half or two will be done in different accents. You don't know. You don't know. You just have to wait for the 11 o'clock hour where that's going to go down. Then we have a lot of news in the beginning. And before we even jump into the montage, before we even jump into talking about this bananas poll that has been released, how's everybody?
I just can't believe we're in Alex Jones territory. Like,
they're turning the freaking frogs gay.
I was going to say, how hard did we laugh when he said the frogs were gay in his tinfoil hat? And now the frogs are trannies and we're wearing tinfoil hats.
Can I just say, unironically, Alex Jones was I listened to Alex Jones every day in high school, pretty much. He was one of my first Politico daily people I listened to. Yeah.
I don't know what I think about that. Like, part of me is impressed you were ahead of the curve, and part of me, it explains a lot.
I remember it was a thing. Summer football in the morning, come home, shower, eat, InfoWars on my phone as I every day. Yeah, that was the thing. He was the OG.
Wow. And then I remember when Allison brought up the water and gay frogs, and I thought that was insane. And well.
You know, the COVID vaccine will save your life too. You won't get COVID. It's perfectly safe.
I mean, because Bill Gates said so.
Yeah.
We trust him.
I have said some crazy things, and I'm probably going to say some crazy things today.
Yeah.
Especially with the significance of tomorrow. But you know what? I mean, I'm batting my average is really high. I'm coming in at 90 something % of it coming true. So come at me.
Bro.
But then call me in a year. You're going to be like, Sinclair, you were right.
For those who don't know, what we're alluding to tomorrow is this mission around the moon. And it may have to connect with our tinfoil hat segment today. So that's what we're alluding to of what tomorrow is this moon mission.
And also, when we have our discussion later, we want to hear from you. Go ahead, tee up your thoughts on the moon, because this one has some ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And we've talked about this before, and it was a day where I was gone. I think you got to host a friend of our show, and the beginning of it was about the moon.
Oh, you weren't there. You're right.
I don't know where I was or why I would miss out on the shenanigans over there, but I did. And so I know that this topic is near and dear to many of y'all's hearts.
Forgot about that.
So we're going to shenan later in the day, but go ahead and shoot us your thoughts on the moon and space and what you think. Now, let me get in front of this by saying, for some of y'all, because you are aerospace engineers, you are saying not everything is a conspiracy. And you're right, because if everything was a conspiracy, nothing would be. However, We have gotten to the place in the world, and I think COVID really started this off, where people went, I need to re-examine what I've been told through the lens of a skeptic. Not deciding that, okay, whatever it is always somewhere out there. There are conspiracies. Some of them are true. This one deserves, we do need to ask questions. So we're gonna.
We're gonna ask
send us
questions.
your questions about the moon, like now, and we're gonna get to them in the 11 o'clock hour. Send them.
I totally forgot. JP, you're gonna love this. I can't believe you remember this. You remember so much more than me, and you weren't even there. Scott Beeson and I hosted Leland's show, and we did it. Abs and I did it a few times, but the one time Scott and I did it together, we spent the entire show talking about
4 hours.
Oh my gosh.
the moon landing. But the thing was, it wasn't us. It was, I know y'all have opinions and I know y'all have thoughts, because the audience and the listeners were driving this whole discussion, and it was insane. But I'm like, we had one shot on Leland's show.
Yeah, I'm
We
about to
spent
say,
it on
one
Can you imagine?
moon landing.
Can you imagine being Leland and you're letting these people host your show and you tune in? It's like, welcome to the Leland show. All right, let's get to it. Did we go to the moon? We're gonna talk about this the rest of the show.
I mean, it happened. That's exactly how it happened. Like,
I forgot
neither of
about
you
that.
could believe that people had so much to say about it, which is not surprising when so much of what our government has told us is wrong. Or is at least being kind, subterfuge. It's at least, okay, it's like this. You're going from South Korea into North Korea. You don't want to go there. But from South Korea to North Korea, the beginning entrance to North Korea, it's what they call a Potemkin village. You probably already know what this is. It looks perfect. Like nothing to see here. It's great. We love living in North Korea, our dear leader. And then you get beyond the Potemkin village to the realities of starvation, of murder, of disappearing people. If you want to read a good book about it, it's by Yeonmi Park, and it is a great book about getting out of North Korea. But the beginning of North Korea, there's literally a Potemkin village. Rarely do people get past it, but people do escape, barely, and they write about it. So at the very least, there are parts of our government, are parts of our lives that we've had Potemkin villages until we dive deeper and go, wait a minute, everything's not as it seems. For me, that was COVID. For me, that was, wait a minute, but they said all these vaccines would work. And not all of them are bad, but many of them, especially the ones we give our children, are hideous because of what is in them. So sit with us a while at 11 o'clock and send us your questions, because maybe some of this has been it's been a Potemkin village.
Can we run the banner across the bottom, JP? Can it say what Abs always says so wisely? We listen and don't judge.
Maybe we change the ticker for that segment to we listen.
Please.
And we don't judge.
That could be our allegedly segment.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
We listen and we don't judge.
We're just asking questions.
Yeah.
It's very innocent. Anyway, I got my tinfoil hat. I'm ready.
Oh, we're all ready.
We all designed the same hat, though, which is funny.
We did. I was going to make like a Little House on the Prairie style hat, like a bonnet, and I still may, and just put it. So I look a little bit like a cross between, what was her name? Ma Ingalls,
Yeah.
and Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey.
Well, because, one of his, he had his like little bike helmet, and he's a
Oh,
goofball.
Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
I was hoping you'd make a tinfoil crown.
Oh, I can. Oh, say less.
Hey,
I'm gonna do it.
You should
I'm
wrap
gonna do it.
I will say this.
Try
Last night, I was like, I wish I had a fedora. I could do a tinfoil fedora.
You know what? I could make you a tinfoil fedora. I can't craft worth a crap, but I bet I can tinfoil fedora you, dude. Because I was looking for my own version. I don't know what a girl version of a fedora is, but I had a cool hat from our travels. She has disappeared.
Can girls not wear fedoras?
Okay, well, I had one. She was cute, and I don't know where she's gone.
The fedora thing is probably from Perry the Platypus when I was a Phineas and Ferb kid. A platypus? Perry the Platypus.
I had a pink
Phineas
platypus
and Ferb.
when I was a kid.
Pretty funny.
So, you guys. So
Yes.
you've been warned. You've been warned.
By the way, before we get into anything, can I tell y'all ever since Friday night, I've had, how many is that in a row? 1, 2, 3, 4 vivid dreams involving us. 4
What?
nights in a row.
What are we
Do
doing?
tell. Is it
Breaking into
fun?
buildings, rolling the Capitol, getting into fights.
What are we doing?
Like just doing the show or like in the breaks or like just us like here.
No,
Like,
we need, like, you don't remember any details?
not in the, I mean, there really wasn't anything in particular. Like it
Oh.
was just us doing, but it's been 4 nights in a
Aw.
row that I've had vivid dreams. And actually last night, okay, I'm a nightly sleep talker because whenever we go on vacations and me and my sister are like in the same hotel room, it's always like every single night you're sleep talking. And then I am a frequent sleepwalker, but
Oh.
I think it was last night I woke up and I was sitting up in my bed, like talking as if like we were talking
Like on air.
Yes. Yeah.
I
But it's
think
been
that
4
means you
nights
just
in a
miss
row.
us
JP.
and you love the show.
Yeah, that's what
And when
that
you're not
means.
with us, you have to,
Yeah.
you just want to keep going because it's so much fun.
Yeah, it is. But as I say, it's been 4 nights in a row without a break. Has been. We'll see if it becomes 5 tonight. But it has been like vivid like dreams of the show, and it's hilarious to me. But I wish there was like a camera of me like in my room sleeping and like what I was saying in the dream, and that we could look back at it. But
I don't know if you want to GoPro your room, but that would be kind of fun.
Yeah, you could do like a motion detecting camera. And so if you sat up or something,
Oh, you could do a
it would
deer cam.
start recording.
You could do that. You
Yes.
could do that. Have you guys ever had dreams? I think it was Molly who this past summer came into my room and she was like, "I'm mad at you." And I'm like, "Why?" She said, "We had a fight in my dream." And I thought it was real.
Yeah, sometimes some dreams are just that real. You wake up feeling like weird.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to, but I usually can let it go pretty quickly. But normally it's like really petty. It's arguments that like I go back to middle school. It's not anybody recent. That's what's weird about dreams is when you pull somebody out of kindergarten that you haven't consciously
That's
thought of in
weird.
40 years.
Mhm.
That is strange. Like what the hell county is your brain doing?
I don't
any-
know.
Weird.
Are any of y'all sleepwalkers like me?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Okay. I'll tell y'all this quick. Whenever, because I used to sleepwalk a lot more often when I was a kid. I still do it, but not as frequently when I was a kid. But when I was younger, it would be really bad when we travel. And Granny Ram took me and my brothers to Yellowstone on a road trip, 2-week-long road trip. And well, first off, our first night in St. Louis, I slept walk to the lobby, and then Granny Ram had to come down and bring me back up. And then like literally they had to barricade the doors of the hotels we were at so that I wouldn't get out. But we were outside of Yellowstone. I can't remember the name of the town, but there was literally moose walking around the town. Like it was not. And so there's 2 parts to our hotel that connected. And let's just say I woke up in the hallway on the 2nd floor of the other hotel part of the hotel.
No, you didn't.
And I
No.
was 12. And I just woke
JP.
up and came to, and I actually had a conversation with a guy that I didn't know I was in the other hotel. And I knocked on the door thinking it was ours and had a conversation through the door with this guy. And I thought it was my brother messing with me. I was like, "Brian, open the door, dude." He's like, "Who is Brian? Like, who are you?" But yeah, I woke up while there was live moose around at like 2 a.m. in the hallway of the 2nd floor of the hotel, of the other part of the hotel next to us. It used to
JP's
be a
future
thing.
wife. JP's future wife. He sleepwalks. Beware.
I actually got a complaint from the person below me in my last apartment. And I got a call from the apartment. It was like, "Are you stomping around at like 2 or 3 a.m.?" And I was like, "Yes, but no." Okay. But yeah, it's a thing. Sleep talking is nightly, but sleepwalking is often still.
So far, you haven't
Wow.
been I have a friend whose husband is a serious sleep mover and shaker. And like he will wake up in the middle of the night and sit straight up and look at her and be like, "Where's Whitney? What have you done with Whitney? Where's she gone?" And like to where Whitney had to put away like all the scissors or anything like out of his, because he gets really aggressive with, that's scary. Don't do that.
Oh my gosh. I've never heard of that before.
Uh,
I talked in my sleep when I was young, and I have woken up screaming before as an adult.
Oh.
Because I was getting shot in my dream.
That is scary.
Yeah.
Those are my dreams. I dream I'm dying.
Well, if you die in your dream, do you die? But
I've been shot in my dream and I'm still here.
Allegedly.
But did you die in your dream?
It's the ghost of Amy.
But did you die?
But did you watch yourself die?
I don't know.
Anywho.
Wow. Okay. Well, that is health news with the group.
By the way, we got
some magnesium.
We got this text from Brad from Crimestone real quick. This alludes to our later conversation. He said, just to be clear, I absolutely believe that we landed on the moon. But if you're the guy scheduling this moon flight, why pick April 1st? I mean, you're just lobbing the ball to conspiracy theorists, and they will absolutely take it and run with it right off the edge of the earth, which is definitely flat.
That's good.
That's actually,
That's
I
good.
mean, April Fool's Day. You're telling me we can go through the Theo Von belt and not die?
The Theo Von radiation belt.
Yeah. Like what? We haven't done it. Okay. I'll save it for later.
Yeah. Put a pin.
To the far side of the moon we go.
Okay.
Allegedly.
Okay, we're going. So did you guys see, and this is just by way of before we montage or news it, but this is a piece of news, and I wondered if either of you had seen this. Okay. Because this relates to a topic we've discussed. You ready?
Ready.
You know how we talked about the strip club night in Atlanta?
Was not prepared.
And then we've talked about different sports teams.
This was gonna be my 3 today.
Oh, I'm so.
Well, if we want to do it now, we can. It's good. We can have that discussion now.
I don't know
We'll
who's
dip
stripping,
it.
so
We'll-
keep going.
Okay.
Don't.
Not stripping. Then we go
Dipping?
to the teams that are doing LGBTQ pride nights, etc. And Jaden Ivey, who played with whom, JP?
Was it the Rockets?
The Rockets. And then in college, he played for Duke. Was a phenom, but he's a believer. He has been waived from the Chicago Bulls for his faith, basically. They won't say that is because of his faith, but he did not want to participate in Pride Night. And he spoke out against it, and they have let him go.
Like
Basically fired him for
being off the team?
Yeah, they waived
off
him.
the team. One of the best players to come out of college basketball in the last couple of years, played for the Rockets, then was with the Bulls, has been waived. His social media following and what he is saying there is incredible. It is inspiring. He's calling out the team. He is doubling down. And I say, bravo, Jaden Ivey. But how incredible that because we've covered these subjects before, this is now in live and living color. So our college kids will remember watching him at Duke and watching him now if you follow. But that is the state of the NBA right now.
Wow.
It's fascist, isn't it? Isn't that the definition?
It is.
Say what we want you to say or you're out.
Yep. No kings.
It is an insane story. He's had a little bit of he's going there now and he's pissed off. There's been some stuff of him going on and on about, other players in the league like Steph Curry who claim to be Christians, but not. He's kind of snowballing, but that you speak out that you don't want to participate in something like that and you get released. It's kind of like when the Dodgers did their Pride Night and Clayton Kershaw probably knew this would happen if he did that, but he had to write the Bible verse on the from Genesis on the side of his hat because of the rainbow hat with the Dodgers logo. But it's
That
pretty
was a boss move, actually.
Yeah. It's like, do you remember during the bubble COVID era with NBA and the Black Lives Matter? It was right after George Floyd. And I'm going to forget his name, but the Magic's player who did not kneel. He was literally the only player that didn't kneel during the anthem. Yeah. And he became like a how dare you sort of thing. And this guy gets released for speaking out. Like, I can't imagine if the roles were reversed. They want to talk about discrimination. That's discrimination.
That is.
Christian and pro-American views are discriminated against in the NBA. Obviously, this guy just lost his job for it. So, but yet you can speak out and kneel for the anthem and speak out against everything in the world. But if you are speaking out anything pro-Christian or pro-America, then you are ostracized.
It'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, is he unhireable? Is he done? Are there any coaches that are brave enough to say, I don't really care what the league says?
I hope so.
I do too.
I don't think there is.
You really don't? I mean, winning is not.
I mean, the only person that probably would be Mark Cuban with the Mavericks. Actually, he's not. He's now a minority owner.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't think the NBA is a very woke league.
So that's sad.
It's really
but good
sad.
for him. Riley Gaines is in town tonight doing a fundraiser for Jared Hudson. And I think about every time I hear her speak, it's like the courage it took for her to do that. But she has not wavered once. I've never heard her speak and say she regrets it or that she shouldn't have, or she wished she had handled it differently. I mean, she is still calling people out. And I can't remember who it was on the show. Somebody was on the show the other day, our show, talking about how, like, where were all the dads? Where were all the men? And that's just what stands out. How are there not more people? There are other professing Christians on NBA teams. Where are they? And we just leave them to kind of flail. And everybody acts like they're lepers now. And it's really sad. Now, Riley Gaines, I think we're seeing a tide turn. And it was all worth it, but I don't even think she cares. I don't even think she cares if she was blackballed forever and never swam again. Like, she knew that was the right thing to do. Sad that there aren't more people like that, though. And think about where maybe even 50 years ago, probably less than that. Let's go back to 1990 something. We just had a player banned for standing on Christian principles. Like, we are absolutely a post-Christian nation. And it happened like that for most of us. Now, Abs will point out very wisely, this has been the plan for years. But man, think about how far we've come or reverted. Scary. Very scary.
It's really scary. And it'll be interesting. I agree with you, JP. I don't know that the league can be saved apart from other players saying, actually, no, we're not going to go along with this. And we are going to be free to say what we want to say. But it would require a grassroots movement from the players. But the NBA is populated by people who really do go to strip clubs, who really do perhaps like Steph Curry has an open marriage.
Allegedly.
I mean, allegedly. But that's what happens to the pro athletes. And so the other part of it, and Chris and I talked about this weekend, is we've got to do a better job growing them up into the 7-on-7 and the AAUs, training them up. There's a real opportunity for the gospel to be spread, to train up real men and women so that when they get to the pros, it's not even a question. They're not going to have Pride Night. They're not going to do the strip club. They're not going to do it because it's just not, nobody wants that anymore because the character of the people have changed. But that starts from the grassroots level, and that starts in about 6th grade. That's, I think, what would take to change the whole thing.
Well, we have to change the entire culture of America
Amen.
And the world.
That's right.
Which just sounds exhausting.
I know.
But we'll keep trying.
I want to go home and bake bread, and you want to make needlepoint.
I want a needlepoint.
Oh, apparently the Lord said not yet.
Someday. Hey, we'll be back with a montage and more news on the other side.
We are joined by election integrity expert, Dr. Douglas Frank. We're thrilled to have him back with us. This time we have a little more time for him to lay out just exactly what's going on, and what he has to share will blow your mind. Welcome.
Great to be with you ladies again. That was a fun interview last time, so I'm glad to be back.
It was fun. And now we have more time to dig in. When you left last time, we both looked at each other and were like, oh my word, because for years we've been told that Alabama is the gold standard in election integrity. And apparently we have some things we can work on.
Every state says they're the gold standard. It's like I think all the secretaries of states get together in some conference and say, let's all agree we're all the gold standard or something like that.
Yeah. Well, tell
Seems like
us a little bit about yourself before we really get into some of the data and the things that you've discovered. How did you get started in this? What is your background?
Sure. I'm a physicist. I was in the lab for 40 years, basically. And when I came out of the lab, I was like, what happened to my country? And what really brought me out was COVID. It was the COVID pandemic. I was teaching at a special school for high IQ kids. And one of my kids was a Chinese exchange student from Wuhan. And in November of 2019, I was teaching differential equations class, and he said, Dr. Frank, can we learn how to model epidemics? And so I began teaching how to model epidemics in December of 2019. And then the Wuhan epidemic took off, and we modeled it, and then I was modeling it in America. So everybody got to know me across the country because of my COVID modeling. I was modeling every country, every county in the country, and 30 countries, and I had like 150,000 people coming to my websites every week to how many people are going to die this week in our county. I mean, it seems morbid, but it's all mathematical. Epidemics are mathematical things. And so that kind of brought me into the public eye. I was in the public eye once before because I was nominated for a Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 1990 for one of my discoveries. I got on the cover of Science and Nature and things like that. So
What'd you discover?
Yeah. You can't leave us hanging
Yeah,
like that.
I mean,
I didn't
just
need to do that to you.
casually.
Sorry about that. Well, I figured out a way to make three-dimensional images of molecules. And it's
Okay.
the first time anybody had done that. And so it looks cool. So it looks good on covers of magazines and brought me a lot of attention. For about a year, I was traveling the world teaching people how I figured that out. And then I left academics in 1996 because it was too political for me. It was disgusting to me. I didn't like
You
it.
were ahead of the curve.
Yeah,
I
sure.
mean,
truly.
in 1996, we thought the world was great.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, I was in Cincinnati too, and Mark Twain wrote about Cincinnati. He said, when the end of the world comes, he wants to be in Cincinnati because everything happens there 10 years later.
Oh,
it's true. I had family who lived in Cincinnati. That's a great place.
Oh, yeah. And it was a great place for me to raise my kids and everything. And I'm still out there in the country. We've moved further out in the country now. So I have a lab out there. That's where I'd be right now, being a physicist out in the country, except that then the election happened and Mr. Lindell discovered me and then Mr. Trump. And so it's like now I've been thrust into this debate on elections. And I guess one of the next big thing was that when Pennsylvania did their audit, Doug Mastriano asked for an audit at the end of November of 2020. I was brought in as one of the 6 people that did their state audit because I'm a numbers guy, and they knew I was a numbers guy because they'd seen my COVID stuff. So that's really what thrust me in. Then Mr. Lindell discovered he made a documentary about me called Scientific Proof. It was his second documentary. And then Trump featured me at his first rally after he was out of office in Wellington, Ohio. So suddenly tens of millions of people knew who I was, and everybody was saying, Dr. Frank, come help us, come help us. And here I am. Although in those days, we thought it was just going to be a 6-month job.
Yeah.
All
for
we
sure.
have to do is show everybody what's going on, and everybody's going to go, oh, no, we have a problem. We got to fix it. That's what we thought. And I spent most of 2021 meeting with secretaries of states, AGs, hacking into their elections right in front of their faces, showing them that they were not the gold standard they thought they were. And it was quite a eye-opener for me. I mean, when I'm a scientist, to me, you set up an experiment, you get the evidence, you present the evidence, and everybody goes, okay, now we do this. I was just assuming if I show everybody the evidence, that they would react accordingly.
Why don't they react accordingly?
I think there are multiple reinforcements of the current system. The first one is the oldest story ever. Since when does government relinquish power to the people? Governments centralize power. And right now in our country, the elections in every state are centrally controlled. they've been steadily, incrementally over about the last 25 years, just become centralized. Your own local clerks don't.
Welcome back to the Right Side. I'm Amy Beth with Allison and JP. Allison brought us snacks, Reese's peanut butter cups.
JP, we look a little
Downstairs.
fuzzy. Do we
Are
look
we fuzzy?
I feel fuzzy. Yeah, I didn't know there were Reese's cups.
Well, I'll give you a warning. They're a bit stale.
Ah, shoot. I got them for y'all.
Thanks, Allison.
I don't eat that junk.
You know what? I do. But it's Easter, and that's why.
Well, these might be from Christmas or maybe Halloween.
They look Halloween.
You know what? We
But
made
hey,
you
I
a
thought
taste
of y'all.
test. Thank you,
Thank
Allison.
you very
That's
much.
so sweet.
Thank you.
Yes,
Okay, so should we get into the news, you guys?
I would love to.
And then after the news and after we roll through the montage, I would love, only because I read our text thread from the Treehouse Gang, to also jump into post montage the little poll that was released.
You know what?
Mm.
I think we do that at 11 because there was also another lieutenant governor poll. So I don't know if we want to have a Alabama segment at 11.
Yes, sir.
Do national montage this segment.
Perfect.
National.
Let's do national.
Did I say it?
Let's do the.
don't
Let's
know.
do it.
National.
Let's get into it.
All right,
Let's
go.
do it too.
Yet when we ask for additional assistance or simple access-based seeking overflight, we get questions or roadblocks or hesitations. And the president's pointing out, you don't have much of an alliance if you have countries that are not willing to stand with you when you need them. He's simply pointing that out, and ultimately it'll be his decision of what that looks like after this is complete.
We're following new developments in the case of Charlie Kirk's alleged assassin. Now remember, Tyler Robinson is accused of killing the right-wing activist at a campus event last September. But now his lawyers claim the fatal bullet may not match the gun allegedly used in the crime.
Radical Islam, and you can Allah Akbar your butt all the way back to the Middle East.
Before we go, a quote from the founder of the Islamic Brotherhood. The quieter you become, the more you're able to hear.
I want to take a moment to address concerns about our broadcast last Thursday. The quote included that evening was not intended to convey any political or ideological message. However, we understand that it was perceived that way, and on behalf of the station, I sincerely apologize to those who were offended.
I'm sorry. When you make an apology and you apologize to the people who are offended, that's not an apology. That's called a blanket apology. It's basically gaslighting. When you apologize, just FYI for the future, and we do appreciate that because enough people were upset that you did it. Otherwise, it would have been a Ron Burgundy moment, and she just read what was on there, which is not fair.
What is her biscuit's name, Abs?
I don't know.
Shanti
She's
Ford.
so pretty. But anyway, okay, a true apology, just pointer 101. Okay, I am sorry. I apologize for what we did. Period. There you have it. You're welcome.
Well, here's my thing. It wasn't meant to be political. You quoted the Muslim Brotherhood. Okay, how can it not be political? And the rest of his apology or statement, he actually said that it wasn't Ashanti Ford who did this. It actually, he goes, because they end every show with a quote.
Oh.
And it goes through, he said it goes through their editorial process. So it goes through their editorial process and then it's put on the teleprompter and Ashanti Ford reads it. So he said it wasn't her, it was our editors, whatever. And he claimed that the matter was addressed internally. But my thing is that it wasn't meant to be political, but we understand it was perceived that way. That's like quoting Trump and being like, we didn't mean for it to be political. Like, it's the Muslim Brotherhood who you quoted. How is it not going to be taken politically?
Right. Yeah, it is political. Like if you said Kafefi, other people would lose their minds because they'd think you were honoring Trump. Islam is political. There's no separation. So I'm glad they acknowledged that. I'm sorry that the editorial process wasn't a little more stringent or refined. Also, just for free, when you apologize, don't make excuses. Just say, I am sorry.
I just did a little Beavis and Butthead like after that, because on the heels of the basketball player story being dismissed because he doesn't want to wear a tranny flag or a LGBTQ 666 XYZ 2S plus whatever, and he's dismissed, but we're handling this internally, and the sky is blue, but that's just your perception, but it's not really. And so I'm sorry you think you saw or heard what you saw or heard, and that's it. Like, it's just where we are in America is will blow your mind where we are. Unacceptable. That should never even be in the lexicon of what could be a closing statement for anybody, unless you have an agenda, which we kind of already know. So I don't know why we're surprised, but then my apologies to Ashanti Ford. Who is the singer? The really good singer?
Oh, Ashanti.
Oh, she
No
just
last
didn't have
name.
the Ford. Yeah. If that wasn't you, I get it. You're just in the moment. You're reading what's up there. But maybe you just like got to go to break.
Yeah.
And now a quote from, we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good night.
Good night. Good night,
Good
San
night.
Diego.
But wow. Hey, and you know what? Kudos to the viewers. And that's that's a great channel. That's a trusted news source in Alabama. But kudos to the viewers for speaking up and saying this is not going to fly. That is great.
What does James Spann think about that?
Is he conservative?
He is just not political at all.
He is a Christian. He's very involved. I know what church he goes to. He's very involved with his church.
But he does not make any sort of statements in my experience or observation.
And I don't know if I need to get my tinfoil hat for this one, but he does not believe that chemtrails are real.
They're all over.
Clearly.
And DARPA, the government even acknowledges them, but they're not.
Cloud seeding is real, but I've never heard him. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't think he's Muslim, though.
Okay. Well, now we can bury that. I was wondering, actually. I saw him in, a hijab when he was doing his,
Well, do boys wear those?
No, which made it even weirder. Just kidding. That was a joke.
That's good.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, I
good.
heard.
It's good.
Had you seen the Jay Mitchell ad before I sent it to y'all?
That's funny.
I didn't watch it. I saw the quote.
It's a great ad.
Can we
Allah
play the
Akbar,
whole
or-
ad? Because it actually kind of goes along with this Muslim Brotherhood thing. It's the opposite of it. I laughed out loud. I think it's hysterical.
too.
I don't know who is doing his digital media stuff, but it was freaking funny.
Yeah, let me pull it up real
See,
quick.
okay, I texted
Yeah.
it to y'all this morning.
Very, very funny. Super creative. Maybe he improvised it on the spot.
Well, somebody wrote it for him because I don't think Jay Mitchell, who is like as flatlined,
He's very,
dare
very
I say,
steady.
boring, which is maybe what you want.
mm-hmm.
Like I remember Greg Cook when he was running, he would always
Yeah.
say, "I'm really boring," and like that's the best thing that you want in someone. He's like, "I just call balls and strikes." I'll never forget that. So maybe that's what you want. He's extreme. So it was kind of humorous for him to have come up with it on his own, but he delivered it well.
Yeah. Here's the full ad, about a minute and a half.
Sneak across the border, be prepared to be sent home. Attack law enforcement, get ready to stare down both barrels. And stand with radical Islam, and you can Allah Akbar your butt all the way back to the Middle East. I'm Jay Mitchell. I love Jesus Christ, family, and the great state of Alabama. And you have my word. As Attorney General, I'll fight for him every day.
Jay Mitchell for Alabama.
And what a nice voice on that ad, whoever that was.
And
Allah Akbar your butt.
he said, "But."
He did. Do you think he knew he was going to say butt?
Like in my head, Jay says derriere.
You can Allah Akbar your rear end back to the Middle East.
Yeah. But he said, "But."
He did.
That's like a cuss word, but I thought it was funny.
It was great.
I still don't really know anything else he stands for, but that was funny.
That was good.
I enjoyed it.
But is that where, is that like we have to, and then we have had several people bring us issues with things that are going on in Pelham. I know we want to dig into that, but we had the Meadowbrook issue of the Islamic Academy wanting to move into North Shelby County, and you see this creep, and it's not just in Dearborn anymore. So I think it's how you got to speak. Like, you can take your butt back to the Middle East. We're not doing it here. I guess that's what you want from your attorney general too.
It is true. That is what we want. I, of course, don't have the book that I was going to show you.
I thought you brought it.
Hold on.
Oh, it's way over there.
I'm going to grab it. I'm grabbing it, Allison.
It's kind of scary. That this was you said it was written in 1918?
Yeah, it was written in 1918. And many of y'all know Larry Taunton, who has the Ideas Have Consequences podcast. He has Fixed Point Foundation. He's basically a historian who travels the world and does podcasts and stuff from there. But recently, he put out that if you want to understand Islam, read this book. Start here. He had a list of things, but he said start with Ravished Armenia. And did you know that there was the Armenian invasion by, back then they called them Mohammedans? Armenia was the first Christian nation on earth. There's one part of Armenia called Van that apparently is where the Ark came to rest. But they had a story, and this is a firsthand account by a girl named Aurora Martiginian, who told about what it was like. She escaped. She was into a governor's harem after her family was murdered before her eyes. And then what happens to her after she escaped. And he said, this is the best explanation of what happens when Islam is allowed to take over, which is exactly what we're facing. Look around Europe. They are finally taking steps to deal with it. But when we get word over the weekend, when we all get messages from people saying, did you hear they bought so-and-so property? We have every right to be concerned. But if you want to learn more about it so that you're equipped, because it doesn't do us any good to know, we want you to know that this book, it is short, but it is packed because it's written literally from 1918. And I had a bad dream about it last night. That was my dream. But pay attention to what's going on. But I'm glad that Jay Mitchell brought that up in his ad.
Because then you juxtapose his response and his message with kind of what we're hearing from other elected officials of, well, they were really, really nice. They moved across with their own money when they bought that church. And you're like, if you understand the Muslim agenda, the Muslim way, they have two strategies. The Mecca strategy and the Medina strategy. The Mecca strategy is you're really nice and you want to assimilate and you that you're going to be great neighbors. And that was how Muhammad started and tried to grow Islam when he first invented it, because that's all it was. But it didn't work, the being nice part. So then they moved the kind of the hub, the capital of it, to Medina. And that's when they started with the take by force, by killing, by any means necessary, of just wiping out entire groups of people and countries. And that's when kind of the radical Islam, the aggressive, the fundamentalist and murderous Islam took over. And so they have these two strategies that they employ. This one's coming. So when you're like, well, they had a welcome ceremony, they had a welcome party for all of the neighborhood. Yeah, well, their hostile takeover of your community is coming. Now, it might not be with swords, but maybe. It's just incompatible. Their way of life is wholly, fundamentally incompatible with ours. at the end of the day. There's no way around it. There's really, unless they want to deny all of their books, which they can't.
Right.
So why are we playing games with this? You can haul your butt. What did he say?
Allah Akbar your butt
There you go.
back.
That's kind of where I land.
Assalamu alaikum. See you later.
Oh boy.
What?
Wow.
Yeah, that's what they say. Assalamu alaikum.
Mm.
And what does that mean?
It's like peace upon you or something like that.
You can take your butt back.
It means, yeah, and upon you be peace.
So the info's out there. You can look on the socials, you can pay attention, but this will only be eliminated if we are prepared, if we are equipped, and if we are ready to understand that everything that she just said is true. There's a Mecca strategy, there's a Medina strategy, and they are friendly to you right now. But understand, if you read their books and they rely upon three of them, not just one, three, that you are able to lie. The treatment of women is incomprehensible. And they plan to wait patiently so that they can take over, starting with buying up properties, getting into office, and going from there. They're out in public with it. And wherever they've gone, the country went from functioning to dysfunction. You can look with your own eyes. But if you want a primer that will rip your heart out, read Ravished Armenia. I found it on Thrift Books. And like I said, it doesn't do us any good to know without sharing. We want you to know. And if you already know, please point your friends and neighbors to resources that are available. This is the most serious issue we will face. It really is. We will not have a country. You think that Graham having a protest for no kings is something? That's just first world people inventing first world problems that do not exist. This is what's real. Do not get sucked in. Don't do it. We are constantly played upon. Our kindness is played upon. This cannot be. Gentle as a dove, but as wise as a serpent. I beg you. We beg you. Please.
Otherwise, we will surely die. I don't know how else to say it.
It's true.
And if it's not physical, we won't live in this great nation.
No.
It's kind of scary.
Very scary.
Okay, so in better news, we're at war.
Great.
Little Petey.
We are.
Petey's
we are.
saying, where are all our people?
Well, so hold on. Let me pull up the story. This part wasn't in the montage with Hegseth, but did y'all see the story about apparently his broker tried to buy a defense fund
Yes.
for the. So let
Do
me
tell more.
It's not
This is
good.
very concerning.
He's starting to bother me. I used to be the biggest Pete fan, and he's just starting. And I it's just a female intuition thing. Like something's off. He's changed.
So this is from Financial Times broke the story, but it's paywalled. So this is from CNBC. A broker for U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth sought to make a large investment in a major defense company, a major defense companies in the lead up to the Iran war, according to the Financial Times. The Pentagon has dismissed this report. The Financial Times reported that Hegseth's broker at banking giant Morgan Stanley contacted BlackRock in February about making a multi-million-dollar investment in its iShares Defense Industrials Active ETF. The ETF, which has about 3.1 billion in assets, counts companies such as RTX, formerly known as Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, and Northrop Grumman among its largest holdings.
Okay. What is the most benign explanation for this?
He just suddenly wanted to invest in military production.
Yeah.
Just he's like, I need to diversify.
Yeah, that's the most benign explanation. But if it wasn't a multi-million-dollar, which I don't think the investment actually went through, but he sought to make the investment. But yeah, it wasn't just it was multi-million dollars in the big like BlackRock, Raytheon, the Northrop Grumman, the literal military industrial complex. So on top of his, comments about you don't have an alliance if they don't stand up when you need them, which ultimately I would agree. If we didn't start this fight, you know what I mean? Like if we didn't start the fight, you're kind of expected to finish it as the United States. But yeah, the whole thing with his burger is troubling to me.
I saw that and I got a sick pit in my stomach because I thought, well, how is he going to explain this away? He did work in the news. He knows how to spin. But that doesn't look, I'm sorry, that does not look good. Please explain yourself quickly. Please. Because he looks awfully defensive these days.
He just looks different. His speech is different. His cadence is different. His body language is different. He's a little frenetic and kind of nervous. He's not the confident, strong, I dare say principled. I mean, he's just different. And to say that our allies won't step up, well, honestly, I'm not even sure I have sufficiently been convinced of why we're even over there in terms of directly. I get the historical 1979, okay, but like at some point you've maybe missed your what is it called in legal terms? What is it when you can't go back and try a case because it's been
that one.
I would have told you if you
yeah,
you've missed your
it's run out.
Your thing.
Statute of limitations.
Thank you.
You've missed your statute of limitations in terms of starting a war if you have to go back to 1979. Now, things have happened and I get it, but I am not convinced of exactly why we're supposed to be over there. So then you want all these people that are geographically so much closer that are now really close to all their missiles and their uranium to all of a sudden jump in and defend you when we're not even sure we should be over there. I don't know. I don't like where this is headed, y'all. My spidey senses are going off. Maybe it's my tinfoil hat being next to me. And maybe it's rubbing off, but it's just getting weird.
Things just radiating. I can see it.
Do y'all
moving.
agree?
Oh, yes. 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not just me.
No, it's not just you. Also, I used to
Great.
think it said spotty senses instead of spidey.
Where does Spidey come
Spider-Man.
from?
Spider-Man.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had to have somebody in my family say, Mom, you know it's Spidey.
Spotty. It's
Not
kind of
spotty
comes in and out.
Yeah.
Not very good senses.
Not very good.
By the
They're
way,
really bad.
real quick before we go to break, what are y'all thinking about the Charlie Kirk, the Tyler Robinson bullet? not matching?
Okay.
Well, okay. Let me before people get too crazy on it, which people already are. They didn't say it didn't match. They just didn't have conclusive evidence that it did match. So they're not saying it didn't come from the gun. They're saying they don't have conclusive evidence that it did. That was the alleged claim from the defense.
Are these the same bullets, though, that he had etched?
Mm-hmm.
And did they still agree that that happened? Did they bring that up?
How do you
Don't
know
know.
he etched them?
I know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Don't
Well,
know anything.
the
Can I read something after the break
Yeah.
Yeah.
about this?
Well, the problem, I'll say the problem is the linking evidence with Tyler Robinson is that his fingerprints were on the gun found at the scene. So they're trying to say that, well, the bullets don't match the gun. But it wasn't conclusive. Like I said, they didn't say it didn't. They just don't have conclusive evidence that it did.
But okay, so much to say. Can we do this on the other side?
Yes.
Sure.
And then what are we doing?
Polls.
Polls.
We got a lot to, yeah.
Polls, like number polls.
Yes.
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 We'll be back.
Y'all have heard us talk about Inspire Advisors, how Paul Breyer and his team at Inspire Advisors will help you grow your investment portfolio while also screening out companies that don't stand for conservative Christian principles.
Paul and his team are experts on what they call biblically responsible investing. And for a limited time, they're hosting a free class that you can register for.
Check out the class. and register for free at moneypatternwealth.com. It's godly, it's conservative, and it's financial freedom.
Again, go to Inspire Advisors at moneypatternwealth.com. Check them out and tell them you heard about them at Rightside Radio.
Do anything anymore. They think they do, but they don't. And so that's a strong motivation. Also, it centralizes the outcomes of your elections. I said electrons. You put me in science mode there for a minute, and so because I was using.
No one blames you.
You want to go back to simpler times. I get it.
Yeah. I mean, I since I was a boy, I read Wrinkle in Time when I was in 3rd grade, and ever since then, I've wanted to have my own physics lab in the country. I do, and that's where I'd be. But except my country went away, and so I have to. I'm a patriot. I have to fight for my country. You can't. There are people dying for the freedoms we have, and I think it's our civic duty to step up and do our job. I mean, think about it. All these years, I got to get government funding and scholarships to do all this great science work. It's like I've a blessed life. So it's my turn of duty, my turn to help.
Before we dig into Alabama numbers and kind of what you're finding here, give us an overview, because you travel the country.
Yes.
You meet with lots of different groups in different states. Nationally, what are you seeing? Are we trending in the right direction? Are we making headway on a national scale? And then let's drill down and talk about what's going on in Alabama.
I think the first principle people need to understand is that there isn't one legislature in this country that wants election reform. There isn't one. Every single one is going the opposite direction. And so, like, for example, when I'm in Oregon, everybody says, oh, it's those evil Democrats. But here I am in Alabama, and you guys are like super red, and yet your legislature is trying to pass laws to make it even harder to audit your elections. What's going on here? And you would think that in the reddest legislatures or reddest states, they would want to fix their elections. But you have a bill right now before your legislature trying to make it even harder for people to have access to your voter rolls, and you're already the second least transparent state in the country in terms of your elections. So it's like that's an eye-opener to people. Everybody wants to think that, oh, sure, certainly our legislature, this is a red state, so certainly they'll want to fix it. And no, it doesn't work that way. That's a big mind change for people to recognize that.
Are you speaking about the bill to reduce fees?
Yes.
Okay, how does that make it more difficult?
So the bill was, as it was originally proposed, was going to take information out. So they were saying, we're going to make it cheaper, but we're going to give you, it took out the critical information. And you're already not giving the, for example, I've been working with your teams here. I just came from Mobile and I came from Autauga, and they're complaining, Dr. Frank, this is really hard. And it is, because in other states, they give you tons more information than you get here. And you have to pay for it. And it's limited already, and they wanted to limit it even more. It should be exactly the opposite. If you go to Ohio, for example, or go on their Ohio website, Secretary of State website, just click. You can download it for free. Go to Florida, click, download it for free. Way more information for free. But in your state, you have to pay exorbitant fees for less information, and they wanted to make that even less information.
So is it because it's back to what you said at the beginning? You've presented the evidence, they ignore it, it's centralized, it's layered. I mean, is it all of those things, or is there something that's specific to Alabama in addition to, we see that they're not transparent, we've experienced that.
Yeah.
Like, what else are we missing?
I think the main thing we're missing is that people have become conditioned into waiting for somebody else to fix the problems. You're too young, you don't remember, you ladies, but when I was a boy, we ran our own elections. The PTA moms walked the precincts, and the parties, the Republican and Democrat representative in every precinct, took the precinct book. And every 2 years, every door was knocked on, making sure that the books in the precincts were up to date. Since about 2002, we've just steadily lost our role as citizens. Now we wait for other people to fix our problems rather than us. We wait for other people to teach our children. We wait for other people to run our elections. We wait for other people to run our government. But America's an experiment in self-government. It's supposed to be us doing these things. How's it working out when we're letting other people teach our kids? How's it working out when we're letting other people run our government? Plato said the penalty for refusing to get involved in politics is you end up being governed by your inferiors. And here we are. Any one of you pick a random person off the street, they'd probably be better governor than the one you got. Okay, I mean, it's.
Hello and welcome back. You're at the right side. So right now, I'm Amy Beth. She's Allison. He's JP. We are going to discuss the Charlie Kirk situation. Then we're going to take on the polls, and then after that,
She's grabbing it already.
Look, I just need it. I think I'm going to have to do it because y'all are going to think I'm crazy.
all right. It's not. We don't think you're crazy.
Nobody else is going to put theirs on?
Well, are we going to talk about? Oh no, I'm not. Not for this.
I won't get it yet, but
So let's discuss what we were talking about before the break, before we get to talking about the polls. And then after the polls, then we will talk about space and have our allegedly segment. So that's how the rest of the day is going to go. But first, Charlie Kirk and this whole bullet situation.
Tinfoil hats are hard to put glasses on with. Okay. Can I read this?
Yes.
yes.
Allison, by the way, could we talk about this for a moment? What is this?
This
for?
antenna is so I can transmit on the dark side of the moon through the Theo Von radiation belt
All right. I just want to make sure that was clear.
because it gets really dicey up there. And if I need to yell help, I think this will work. Okay. I'm going to read this whole thing. The sheriff who arranged for Tyler Robinson to turn himself in, the Washington County Sheriff Nate Brooksby, resigned. Robinson turned himself in, accompanied by his parents and a family friend the day after Kirk's shooting. Brooksby facilitated the surrender. Now he's gone. The ATF couldn't match the bullet to the rifle allegedly tied to Robinson. The NCTC investigation into Kirk's death was stopped per Joe Kent. The FBI shooting reconstruction team was delayed reaching the scene due to Kash Patel using agency planes for personal travel. Now the sheriff who handled Robinson's surrender resigned. No stated reason. Every institution connected to this case keeps producing new questions. The preliminary hearing is May 18th. How hard is it to, maybe Tyler Robinson was there. He held the gun. He etched the bullets. But how do we know that it was actually his bullet that killed Charlie Kirk?
We have a confession from him. I don't know if that's enough. Regards to the
he was
bullet,
part of MK Ultra, and they were controlling him, and they told him what to say.
I don't know. In terms of the bullet itself, I wonder if you can get fingerprints on the bullet casings and link it to Tyler Robinson. But the problem is, they couldn't conclusively determine the bullet came from that gun, which does have Tyler Robinson's, fingerprints on it. I don't know. I'm still of the belief there's too much pointing to Tyler Robinson in this to think otherwise. Like I said, we have a Discord confession from him. He turned himself in, or his parents turned him in, same thing. And he was on video, running from the scene. There's too much there still to think otherwise that this wasn't Tyler Robinson.
But you don't think he could be a decoy? He could be scapegoat. He could be set up to take the fall for it, but it wasn't actually him.
Well, the reason I don't think that's the case is they've got video of one person making the shot on the roof, jumping off the roof, and they track him all the way to the woods. And the gun that was found in the woods that they tracked him all the way to is the one that had his fingerprints on it.
Well,
so how could he be a decoy if?
But I'm saying the shot came from somewhere else. He thought and knew what he was doing, but he didn't actually do it.
I just don't see evidence that there's. People have gone down the rabbit trail of palm guns from in the crowd and
palm gun Ricky.
Yeah, and there's I just don't see evidence that the shot did not come from Tyler on the roof. I don't see evidence of that. It is weird. I will give you this. It's odd that that sheriff resigned as this came out, but also I don't know if that's anything more than just weird. I don't.
If it weren't Charlie Kirk and somebody else was on trial, and we had the evidence of fingerprints on a gun, etchings of bullets, and we literally had video of him escaping from the roof, jumping, walking, and his mom going, "That's my son." If it weren't Charlie Kirk and this weren't a high-profile case, what would you say if you were on the jury?
That would be enough evidence, more than likely.
But what if the casing didn't match conclusively?
But it depends on the percentages. Are we saying that it didn't match? Like the DNA is a weird way that they say the DNA doesn't match, but it didn't match within the standard? Or is it like a huge wild, like define? We need to know what they mean when they say conclusive. Is it like, what do they mean by that? Because by all other measures, a mother saw her son, and that's enough for me. Because I guess I fall back on do I believe there's MK Ultra? Yes. I've read enough. Absolutely. That's a thing. But if everything is a conspiracy, then nothing is. So who did it?
But some things can be conspiracies.
Some things can, but in this world, everything is laden with conspiracies. And so I guess I'm asking, if this weren't the Charlie Kirk case and it was just some rando, would the evidence that they presented be enough for you to go, yeah, he probably did it? We're seeing with politicized eyes. But that doesn't mean, I don't know.
There are some weird things that, I don't know if we'd be following it. We probably wouldn't even know a lot of these details, which maybe is the difference. But I do think there are some strange things that happened along the way. Y'all remember right after the shots, right after he fell over, remember the weird guy that stood up right in front and was like this and turned around and looked at the crowd like, you hit him, you got him? That's a totally unnatural reaction to somebody is gushing blood and just fell out in front of you, and you're going to stand up in the crowd and look and cheer and look behind you. That tells me more than one person was involved in it. You can't, that's not conclusive, but that's one thing that I'm like, that is a very unnatural reaction unless you know what's coming and you aren't the target.
Well, he claimed he tried to distract everybody from that, and he was a weird guy, so he could have. But
could we also factor in that, and we don't know crowd percentages, I'm asking, a lot of people there to hear Charlie were very liberal and very progressive and hated him for his LGBTQ belief, he hated him for his biblical beliefs. Could it be that one of those deranged lunatics got on the internet right after Charlie was killed, happened to be right there going, yeah, he's dead, because he was that delusional? Because there were those people in that crowd. Could that have been a thing? Could that be what that man was doing? Was just getting ahead of going, yay, he's dead, of what the deranged loons were doing online almost immediately once it was discovered Charlie had been killed.
I genuinely, and people may think this is stupid, but I genuinely think he was just a bizarre, weird guy that supported Charlie, and his immediate reaction to that was to try to distract everybody from I genuinely think that was the case.
That is not human nature, though.
This guy, did you see? This guy had long curly, he was a hippie.
And you
dude.
think he was a Charlie supporter?
No.
Yes. Oh, I do. I don't know. Why else would he? I don't know. I know people, and I've experienced people that would have that reaction to that. It's just maybe an autist.
You'll risk your life. Maybe he's been in battle before and he knows how to face those situations of bullets flying, but that's not normally a commoner's
we wouldn't
reaction.
have that reaction, but
no.
Maybe
I just think it's kind of like the Nancy Guthrie case, which, by the way, where is she? At some point, maybe we don't have conclusive evidence that it was the family. Actually, someone went on, investigator went on Jesse Waters and started talking about that he thinks the family, it was after Savannah did the interview on the Today Show. I mean, not the Today Show. Yeah, she's on the Today Show, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Anyway, all that to say, I think there's enough there to at least pay attention and kind of follow along with how this plays out as the trial approaches. I don't know. Maybe it was him and he's just really crazy. But I've learned through COVID and so many other things that, like, just because they tell you this is it doesn't mean you have to just swallow it and say, yes, sir, give me another. Yes, not everything's a conspiracy. But dang it, in 2026, if you aren't at least questioning some things and doing your own investigation, you're a fool. So that's what we're doing. That's why I wear the tinfoil hat.
And I'll just say this to wrap a bow on it. Like, until I see enough evidence to outweigh the evidence that it was Tyler Robinson, then I'll,
That's fair.
I don't see any other evidence that is more substantial and conclusive than the amount of evidence we have pointing to Tyler Robinson.
Okay, let me ask you this. Was he working alone? Was this just something he came up with on his own?
I don't think we understand the depravity of the human heart apart from Christ. And if you're dating somebody that thinks that he's a furry or trans, I don't think we can comprehend the level. I don't think we can comprehend the level of wickedness in our own heart, let alone somebody who has been given over. God says in Romans, I'm going to give you over. I don't think we can comprehend that. So I think it's absolutely possible that he took it on as his mission, just as his mission, that he's going to take Charlie Kirk out, because how dare you go against my boyfriend? I do believe that's possible, because then think about it. You're saturated in that gamer community where you go in dark rooms and you play games all day long and all you do is shoot to kill. I think it's very possible in this day and age that it was his mission to take him out, as that guy did when he killed or tried to kill Ronald Reagan, take him out for Jodie Foster. Yeah, I talk about JFK. That's a whole nother thing. Because again, there's evidence on that one. This one, I feel like you do. There's not enough evidence for me to believe he didn't. There's not enough, for lack of a better phrase, plausible deniability. I don't see it. If I did, we would say so. But there's so much other evidence. And I have to just put if this were not Charlie Kirk case, this guy would already be convicted.
But it was Charlie Kirk.
Yeah. But it was.
Anywho.
So we'll see.
Watch along.
We will.
See. It's just odd. The whole thing is, it's odd.
I just can't believe all the people there. Like, logistically, how did he pull that off with the security and the people there? Crazy enough. Absolutely. Like, they are so stuck in their own echo chamber. But it's kind of like Donald Trump's attempted assassination. Everybody, Secret Service, everybody's there and nobody caught it. Like, what in the world? That one was weird too.
Yes.
Are we that inept?
Agree. Absolutely. Well, you want to know what's not conspiracy theory?
Oh, don't say that, because all the comments online.
What?
Polls are we going to polls?
Yes, ma'am.
Polls.
Polls.
Worthless.
The polls you like, okay. But the polls you don't like, sure. So let's look at the poll and deal with reality. Because the reality is there's a new poll. And it's, I saw it last night and I was like, wow.
Well, there's actually two polls, and the lieutenant governor one is just as interesting, in my opinion. But we'll first talk about the Senate poll, the U.S. Senate poll. This was from the Alabama poll, and it was conducted upon over 600 likely voters with a margin of error of 4%. And this was conducted last week or 2 weeks ago. I think it was from the 16th to the 19th. Barrymore is currently at 22.8%. Steve Marshall is at 20.7%, and Jared Hudson is at 19%. Rodney Walker at 3%, 34.5% undecided. So we have a statistical three-way tie between Barrymore, Steve Marshall, and Jared Hudson, according to the Alabama poll.
Now, it's funny because, you post this, and like I posted it on social media, and everybody from each campaign, Barrymore's campaign people are like, polls are worthless. They're, they're junk. You can't trust a poll, especially from a company like that. Except last week they were out touting how the Club for Growth poll, who is endorsed Barrymore, is the best poll ever. That's what you do. You run with polls that support your candidate and you downplay the ones that don't. I get it. But I think this is probably just from paying attention on social media to comments to supporters. I think that this is probably an extremely accurate poll. Very important to watch is that right now, undecided is winning. Like if undecided is a person, they are leading all the other candidates. So where that undecided goes will determine the race. And I'm guessing it's going to a runoff. Maybe not. But undecided, these three candidates have got to get their message out. Watching Steve Marshall fall the way he has been a little painful. It's like watching Mike Durant fall in 2022. Came out with a strong lead. And then and Katie Britt, most people didn't even know who Katie Britt was. Everybody knew Mo Brooks. Everybody knew Mike Durant. Those two are leading. Katie Britt came legit out of nowhere. Now, she had been put in that position. She had a force behind her. But it's hard to watch Steve Marshall because it was his to lose, and I think he might. Jared Hudson is a little bit the Katie Britt, kind of coming out of nowhere. Some people knew him. Like if you knew BCA stuff, you would know Katie. Barrymore, God, has everything. The Trump endorsement, the JD Vance endorsement, the TPUSA endorsement, the crypto money, the Club for Growth money, but he's still tied with the other two. That's kind of telling as well.
And the difference in spending on ads.
Yes. What is the difference in spending on ads?
Just off the brain, Allison may know him better, of 1.4 million, I think, was Barry, how much he spent on ads currently. Steve Marshall is in the hundreds of thousands range, and then I think Jared is around the 20,000 range on ads.
Wow.
And it's a tie. Yeah,
that's crazy.
That said something.
Well, in one of the articles, it mentions that $6 million, or the Alabama poll actually put out that $6 million had been spent on advertising. One of Barrymore's campaign people responded and said, it's actually not 6 million. It's only 3 million.
Okay.
That's not much. Okay. You halved it, but that's a lot. But Barrymore is gaining ground and he is leading. And if you want to listen to the Club for Growth poll, which, it probably means something, he's leading by a large margin. But what do y'all think? I kind of think that that's probably pretty representative of where we are. This new poll.
It is a game. And you're right. We use what we like and you ignore what you don't, or you dismiss it. But it's a game. It would be very interesting. And I think we should pay attention to the end of the race to see how this turns out and spending. Because what if Jared makes it and ends up spending far less on the race than the others? What if it's simply earned media exposure from ads and socials than, traditional ads on TV, radio, which is very expensive. So that's something that I'm interested in watching, because we do spend a ridiculous amount of money on these races. So what if it can be done without spending a lot of money if you have the right kind of candidate? That's what's intriguing to me. But I do believe the polls are accurate and interesting. And it's kind of exactly what you want at the end of a race. You want it to tighten up and for everybody to fight for their lives, because in fighting for your lives, you're going to see who will fight for you, and you will see who will emerge victorious, and you'll also see what they'll do in order to win. And that's going to be different for each candidate.
I'll add this part of the poll that I found interesting. It also asked, how much of a Trump endorsement means to the people that were polled. A generic Trump endorsement moved voters toward a candidate by a net of 34 points, which is down 13 points from a net of 47 points when it was first tested in August of last year. So how many months is that? It's gone down 13 points in terms of how much weight a Trump endorsement has. And the Lowry, who conducted this poll, attributed, this is from Yellowhammer News, Lowry attributed the decline not to weakening Trump support, but to a natural shift in primary dynamics as voters move from evaluating the endorser to evaluating the candidate. So.
But what do people, okay, if that's true, what do people, let's see, how do I say this? So Steve Marshall, the best thing is he has a record. The worst thing is he has a record. So maybe people are looking into his record for whatever reason and deciding they don't, evaluating the candidate that way. And they obviously, his numbers are dropping. They don't like what they see. But for Barry Moore, what would you possibly have against him to not raise him up that 34 or 47%? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see anything in his record. He's by far the most conservative member of Congress we have, by far. Now, actually, well, Tommy Tuberville's up there with him. But like he's very benign on the record, what you're looking at. Do you think people just don't like him? Like, why isn't it translating?
No. I believe that we have 3 good candidates.
That's a good point.
So it's going to be split. Mostly it's easy to pick out, but it is very similar to the Katie Britt race, where people were very strong for whomever they came out for. And it stayed that way, and then it didn't. So I think that's the different dynamic in this race.
By the way, I extended this to 30 because I also want to ask you about the lieutenant governor poll. It's pretty crazy. But I'll just say this to answer your question. As well, I think if your entire platform is that you were endorsed by Trump, I think maybe to a certain point, it becomes a turnoff. At least it would to me, because you're not talking about you. You're constantly shoving down people's throats that you were endorsed by Trump, which I get it. Obviously, you got the Trump endorsement and you need to get that out there for people to see. But if that's it and you're not promoting anything else about you, it makes, at least for me, in my opinion, it makes you look like, who is this guy? Okay, I know he's endorsed by Barry, but or endorsed by Trump, but who is Barry Moore? Like, whereas I feel like, the other candidates, because they don't have that Trump endorsement, are talking more about them and who they are and what their platform is. Whereas, I don't know, maybe that if your entire platform and your ads are who endorsed you and not you, then I don't know, maybe that doesn't have enough weight to really pack the punch. But I'll just say this: if you've got all those endorsements and we're at the end of March and it is a 3-way tie still, that is remarkable in my opinion. I think there's several threads you can pull on that. But
yeah, I think I'm probably going to go with abs. I think you're right. And it's the fear for like Catherine Robertson. And I think she's done a good job, but you can't just run on that you're the chief counsel for the Attorney General, Steve Marshall. Like you have to set yourself apart. And I think she's worked to do that. You have to, if you're Barry Moore, you have to talk. And he did at the forum. I mean, he talked a lot about his votes and a lot about what he's done. But you're probably right, because honestly, I mean, Jared Hudson is a personal friend. We've known him. My husband is on the Covenant Rescue Board. Like, we've known him forever. Steve Marshall has been amazing with us with local Alabama, came and spoke at several town halls we held. I mean, what was always extremely helpful. Barrymore, one of our strongest, if not the strongest, most conservative vote, has always been, a really stalwart, and I hate to lose him actually in the House because I feel like he pulls everybody right. And you have 3 really good candidates that probably most conservatives. And when they all announced they were running, I'm like, why do y'all all have to be running for the same race?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's a good
Fair.
point.
Very
That's a
fair.
good point.
I think that's true.
Yeah.
But I think
But you're right as well.
you run on the 95% Liberty score. That's what you run on. And by the way, I'm Trump endorsed.
Actually, I really haven't heard him talk about that.
Right.
A
Where,
lot.
I mean, he mentioned it once during the forum, but that was it. And I think you run on that and cherry on top. I've got all these endorsements. Not, I'm Trump endorsed. 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 It's
People
almost,
want more because the other candidates are making you. They could be making him talk about the issues, and he's not talking about the issues, where Marshall and Hudson are talking about the issues much more.
Yeah.
And they don't have those things they have different endorsements, but we're hearing more about what they think and their policies. And I don't think Barrymore is doing enough of that. We are long past Trump. Don't think anymore about it. Just say yes. That's what you're asking people to do. And in this day and age, people are tired of that. They want more. And you got to give them more.
Yeah, that's such a good point because you look at, especially right now with the war and gas prices, like Trump is not going to get you as far as you want it to. And then you have, like the Thune endorsement of Barrymore. That's not great. I don't even think the campaign put anything out about that. So you got to be able to step up on your record and what you stand for. I think that's a great point.
we got about 3 minutes left, but this lieutenant governor poll is crazy to me because
it is crazy. I'm going to flip over to it.
We've got Wes Allen in the lead at 18.7%.
Where'd that go, man?
Second place, Rick Pate.
I do love Rick Pate.
At 8.8%.
He is great.
John Wall, 7%. And then Nicole Wadsworth at 5.3%. 60.2% undecided, by the way. But I kind of expected a bit of a better bump from John Wall when he entered the race with a Trump endorsement. He's sitting at third. I mean, that's
again the Trump endorsement maybe not doing what they wanted it to do.
Right.
Tell me the top three numbers again.
Wes Allen 18.7, Rick Pate 8.8, John Wall 7.
They need to have another forum.
Right.
Now that people are paying attention, because honestly, the early forums, let's just be very clear, those are warm-up forums. Now that like the gloves are off, now you need to get them in a forum and just do the top three. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. Do the top three. You can do top five, polling threshold, whatever you want. It'd be a very different outcome. I think now is when you can actually affect what's happening. I think we hold these things too early.
That's probably exactly what I would think. I mean, Wes Allen has been Secretary of State. He was in the legislature, and he championed lots of great conservative things like VCAP and lots of grassroots. People know his name. Rick Pate is the ag commissioner. People that know Rick Pate love Rick Pate. He's a great guy.
Yes.
Then you get to John Wall. The politicos knew who John Wall was, but most of average Alabamians don't even know what the Alabama Republican Party does or who the chairman is. So he's kind of fighting from behind, but he raised $1 million the first day and came in with a Trump endorsement. And then you have Nicole Wadsworth that's only 2 points behind him.
It just got real interesting, y'all.
Ooh.
This is the good part.
Gonna be wild. Okay, when we come back, tinfoil hats, we're gonna preview the moon landing. Allegedly. No. They're not landing. They're just testing to make sure nobody incinerates in the Theo Von radiation belt. And then are we doing the 3? What are we doing?
Allegedly after that.
Oh, allegedly. That's right. We got lots to do. We'll be back.
JP here with Rightside. I need to remind you that Inspire Advisors is one of our sponsors, and they are doing amazing work. We know this audience, and you're the kind of folks who believe in standing up for your principles and being good stewards of your resources. What if the companies you're invested in don't reflect your values at all? That's why you need to meet Paul Breyer and his team at Inspire Advisors. Inspire Advisors, they are experts in the field of biblically responsible investing. They can help you grow your bottom line while also being proud of what companies you invest in. Inspire Advisors, you got to go check them out. Here's their website, www.moneypatternwealth.com, and tell them you heard about it on Rightside Radio.
Situation.
Right.
So really, I think that's the fundamental problem, is that we the people, and this is a good thing for Alabama, but we the people have forgotten that it's our country, that we're supposed to be doing stuff. Now, in your state, you are full of people who have really good, solid values. That is refreshing when I'm here in Alabama. But because of that, you're more trusting.
Okay.
And because of that, when I walk into a county and say, hey, your elections are all corrupted, they look at me like, no, our clerk is great. We love her. We go to church with her. Our kids go to school together. It's like
That couldn't possibly happen.
Couldn't possibly happen here because we're great people, right? I mean, and I get that. But what they don't understand is the problem isn't your people. The problem is that they are subservient to a system that's being imposed on you. So, for example, if you were let's say you move into a county here. We're in Shelby, I think, right now. Let's say you walk into, I know the country by counties. Let's say you walk into a county and you say, hey, I want to get on the voter rolls. I want to register. The clerk doesn't bring out the precinct book and add you to the rolls. She logs into the state central system and adds you to the rolls. Oh, want to delete somebody from the rolls? She doesn't delete you. She logs into the state central system and deletes you from the system. She's not in control of that system. And guess where that file is? Omaha, Nebraska. Okay, so your rolls are not even here, and your clerk is not even here. It's not like she has a copy of the rolls. And so one of the things that I show in my talks, and by the way, I'm speaking tonight in Tuscaloosa, I think it is. Yeah. And I'll show a lot of this information, is if you were to take a copy of your voter rolls today, and then a week from now take another copy of your voter rolls, and compare the two, there'd be a whole bunch of names that were added and removed that your clerk didn't add and remove. Well, who did that? The state does that, and your clerk doesn't even know, though, because the numbers are similar, and so it looks to the clerk like this just kind of going along, and she's adding and removing a few over time, but she doesn't realize that it's actually going like this, and I have the copies of the rolls, so I can show them the snapshots over time, and they're like, what? And so they don't know that's happening, and so I show that.
So the state, but what is making the state remove them without going through the registrars?
Good question. So it used to be Eric. I think recently you've separated from Eric, but you now have Avid. Yeah. And it's basically the same thing. I could show you in your own data. You're doing the same thing as you always did. You just changed the name for political reasons.
But isn't that what you want? You want to be checking against other states' records and removing accordingly? So
it sounds good.
Yeah.
It sounds like, wouldn't it be great? Except that what's happened is, and I can show you, and we should put this graph when we get to that point. I can show you your own rolls over time, and I can show you that what happened is, in this graph, this is from 1980 to 2024. You had 3 million people of voting age in 1980. And it's just kind of steadily climbed in your state, and now you're up to around 4 million people of voting age. See that? That's your voting age people. Here are the number of people in your rolls every 2 years, according to your Secretary of State. And a clean voter rolls should be about 70% of your voting age population. So I would say you were really clean from about 1992 up to about 2012. But then look what happened. Then your voter rolls took off. How come? Well, that's when your state started automatically adding people who get driver's license, who get a car registration, who touch any government agency, who go to jail, who get welfare. They're automatically adding people, and they're not cleaning in a commensurate fashion, so the rolls are getting dirtier. I can talk about the turnouts, but let's not do that yet. I just want you to see that the voter rolls are growing faster than your population. Dramatically faster. In fact, you got about 40% too many people in your voter rolls. So what'll happen is I'll give I'll show this to people and they're like, what? How could we have so many names in the rolls that shouldn't be there? So what then I do is I give them a copy of their own voter rolls. They start going through them. And I always tell people, look in your own neighborhood. So we look up, it's like I'll be standing in front of a group and I'll say, give me an address. Give me an address. We look you up and they'll say, wait a minute, that's my next door neighbor. Their boy hasn't lived here for 10 years. How come he's still an active voter in the rolls? In other words, the rolls are really dirty. And when I show them to them themselves, they're shocked. They don't realize how dirty it is. Now, in states like Oregon or Washington or Colorado or California where they mail a ballot to every person, that's immediately a problem because you're mailing huge amounts of ballots out to people who aren't there. It's ridiculous. Like I was just in a county in Colorado where they got back a fourth of the ballots undeliverable. I mean, it's ridiculous. Now, you have equally dirty rolls, but since
Hi, how are you?
But
we actually made these,
can't see.
guys, and
There we go.
JP's getting his tinfoil hat.
You know, we didn't talk about it. We all got baseball hats and just wrapped them. I don't think that's the way, like Alex Jones didn't do that. He shaped it to his head.
Well, I did have a piece of head shaped, it almost looked like a yarmulke, you know, but I didn't bring it in. So,
This is going to be a problem. How am I going to get my headphones to my ears with this tinfoil hat on?
can you stretch your
Yeah,
headphones
can
out?
you
Like
stretch 'em
really
out?
make it happen. So we have entered that portion of the competition where we're going to discuss the moon landing. And I know many of you have questions. This one right here does. She has thoughts. And so because we're a team, we have our tinfoil hats on. No, you're not mistaken. This is not allegedly. That's next. But right now, we are discussing the moon landing because tomorrow.
What?
It looks like JP is sitting under one of those perm heaters.
Oh my gosh.
It's the
His
giantest
forehead's
hat
gonna be like-
I've ever seen.
It's so big.
Okay,
He's got my freedom hat on that Molly got
really
us.
funny.
So you know, they're gonna slingshot that thing around the moon tomorrow. I don't know what they're doing, but they're going around the moon because they'd like to get back to the moon. So my only question, and I'll save it for when we get there, is the communication they allegedly apparently had while they were on the moon. Talking on the telephone to talking to them on the moon back in the 60s. I got questions about that. But they're going to go around the moon tomorrow, and they were talking excitedly about all the things that they would like to do there, which is great. But Allison Sinclair, why don't you just take us into that space? And we're going to ask you questions about it once you present your information.
Well, I don't really have a full on PowerPoint spreadsheet for y'all, but I do have 2 clips, and I just
Get 3.
I do this. I have 3. I do this because I need y'all to understand that I am not the only one that's asking questions. And then one of the videos that I sent, you will go, okay, that was weird. And you'll know it when you see it. So let's watch these 3 videos, then we will discuss.
Have we landed on the moon since the 60s?
If we ever did in the first place? No. If
Are you
we
being
ever did in the
serious?
first place. Yeah. I don't know if we did.
I don't know if we did either.
I used to believe it before COVID. No, I didn't. I didn't believe it for a long time. Then I said, I'm probably wrong. I don't know what I'm talking about. Let me just leave it alone. And then I got back into it again. And I was like, but it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense that these guys went, like Neil Armstrong basically went into hiding. And then at the 25th anniversary of the launch, he gave the most cryptic speech for this team of high school graduates, like these honor students.
Yeah.
You should see the speech because the speech is nuts. And then I went back and watched the post-flight press conference when they supposedly landed after they landed on the moon and came back home. It's like a hostage video. It's the weirdest behavior.
Yeah.
They seem like there's a guy who's a body language expert. He's like, these guys are all being deceptive.
Has nobody been to the moon in such a long time?
That's not an 8-year-old's question. That's my question. I want to know, but I think I know. Because we didn't go there, and that's the way it happened. And if it didn't happen, it's nice to know why it didn't happen. So in the future, if we want to keep doing something, we need to know why something stopped in the past that we wanted to keep it going. But I think I know. Because we didn't.
Conspiracy theorists. They've been crazy, but now they're right.
Let's talk about this, because this is fascinating. I remember very clearly, I think anybody who was alive at the time does, I remember my parents waking me up and we went down and we watched you guys land on the moon.
No, you didn't.
What?
Because there wasn't any television. There wasn't anybody taking a picture. You watched animation. See, you associated what you saw with...
I have very hazy memories.
Yeah, I know.
Well, no, but what we saw was we all were gathered around the old curved top radio and listened.
Talking about, how many feet we were going to the left and right, and then I said, contact light, engine stop.
It was exciting.
A few other things.
So,
that's weird. That's Buzz Aldrin saying, no, you didn't. No, you didn't, because we didn't have TV. We didn't have video. No, that was animation. What? So there's just the weird body language. Then Buzz Aldrin talking to that little girl, and he's like, I mean, that was some Kamala Harris type.
I have no idea what he even said, to be honest.
Yeah. Now, maybe we can say he's old and he doesn't understand anymore. But that's 2 times, and there's so many other times where he's like, we didn't go there. You're like, this is weird. But when Joe Rogan's asking questions, and he did a whole debate thing, if it's way too long, but him and Matt Walsh had a whole face off about the moon landing, because Matt Walsh is very much like, dude, you're an idiot. We went to the moon. Why have we not been back? Like, that's what I don't understand. And now Artemis 2 is about to take off tomorrow, and we have to do some test runs to make sure we don't blow up, incinerate in the Van Allen radiation belts. But we did that in 1969, and then we did it 7 more times or whatever in the next few years. But then there's an article about Newsweek talks about all of a sudden all these tapes were erased. Do y'all know about that?
No.
This is actually on NPR, and now, of course, it won't load because the NSA doesn't want us talking about this. Anyway, they lost all the Apollo 11 tapes. Apparently, they were just erased in like 2017. It's just weird. And you look at the flag. I pulled up some of, maybe we should talk through some of these. The shadows, the flags, the reflections, the moon, moon rocks. Remember, Buzz Aldrin or Armstrong gave, I think it was like the president of Holland, a moon rock that they brought back, and they did testing on it, and it was just really a piece of petrified wood. You're like, what? So all these things start adding up, and it just gets kind of weird. It just gets weird. Then how do we call each other?
How did we call each other? Those are the questions that I have. And who was taking the video?
I'm guessing the guy that was left, is it Collins? What was his name?
That guy?
Yeah, there was
he
one
taking
guy
the video? I mean, obviously somebody did. So we have that, but I've never thought to go, okay, who was that guy? But really the communication aspect of it has always befuddled me. Like, how in the 60s did they pull that off? I can buy, because we saw them trying to go 7 times, going around, like going into space. We saw that. We saw that part with our eyeballs. But that's the only part that I'm like, okay, how did they pull that off? How did they do that? I don't know.
I'm not sure how he would get good video if you're stuck in because he the one guy that was left in the spaceship or whatever you call it. What do they call it? Spaceship?
The lander.
The lunar lander. Or whatever.
No. Buzz and Armstrong and Aldrin got out in the lunar lander and went on and then the other guy, the Collins guy, just like basically flew around the moon.
Right.
So how can you sit in video if you're flying around the moon?
Look, we have questions. We're just asking questions.
Well, I'll be the extra piece. That's what I like about most conversations we had. We each do separate arguments or different parts. So I'll provide the quote evidence that we landed on the moon.
Okay.
Even though I'll go into tinfoil hat land with y'all. We're a team.
I mean, because I can buy that we went, but I have a lot of questions about it. So that's where I'm kind of.
So
show me.
There is, and I'm going to put it up here on the screen. There is evidence from satellite images showing the landing spot and rover tracks from the Apollo mission. Yes.
That doesn't mean humans were on there. I mean, we put stuff on the moon all the time.
Right, but who drove around on rover tracks?
You can have a rover that's like remote control.
Back then?
Yeah. Oh, so you're telling me we can communicate and take video and send it back and not get incinerated, but we can't joystick a rover?
Not back then. I don't think so.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But no, that is satellite image that shows the landing spot and rover tracks. So that's one piece of evidence. The other one is there are reflectors that were left on the moon to help measure distance and such. That was there. There's also were the moon rocks, although the story Allison told is a bit bizarre, but we do have about 842 pounds of moon rocks. And also, I mean, there was independent tracking from foreign nations like the Soviet Union and such that were tracking this. So there are pieces of evidence. And I would say this, my answer to the why haven't we gone back is, well, the first answer is what's the need to go back on the moon? But I mean, I don't want to underestimate or undervalue the space race and how it brought an end to the Cold War. I mean, that was a time that we were competing with the Soviet Union on everything, and really shaping the climate of the world moving forward through the Cold War. I mean, winning the space race and going to the moon was so consequential in that. So that is an extreme motivator, is to beat the Soviet Union, especially at that time when they were already, beating us on sending animals into space and all. Like, they were winning the space race at the time. So the only way to ultimately get the victory was to go to the moon. Like that was an extreme motivator at the time. We don't really have that motivation now to go to the moon. Like, it's not really there. There's nothing there. We've already done it. We've proved we can do it. So that would be my answer to why we haven't gone back, is there's not really a need. I mean, it's a desolate desert moon.
But what's the motivation for now? Because we're going back to the moon. I mean, this is a test run. Artemis 3 will go back to the moon. So why now all of a sudden? I mean, are you saying this is still no motivation?
Not like the Cold War, like winning the Cold War.
Well,
like to
right.
have humans
But I mean, you've got
on the moon.
Elon Musk who wants to go to Mars and occupy Mars.
Yeah, but that's different than the moon. Can't really, I mean.
So you think there's more chance of being motivated to go to Mars and set up camp there than it is to. I did hear yesterday on the Daily Wire, I believe they were very excited about, whoever was talking was excited about going back to the moon and the plans that they had. But it's just, I have always wondered why it took so long for us to go back, because it seems like you'd want to continue to go back. Not that we, like I said, I don't know. I'll be very interested in what happens with this Artemis situation. I really will.
If you read about, and we can talk about this tomorrow, but have you read all the things that can go wrong with Artemis 2?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I can't.
That's the other part of it. It is so dangerous. You have to have.
Yeah, but we did it 7 times in 1969 to 72. But it's like we haven't progressed at all to 2026.
Well, it's not we haven't progressed, but I mean, but the danger is still there. The danger hasn't changed. And I don't know the exact motivation for this one. I guess it's a desire to eventually go back again. but it's just in that time when we did it, it was an existential threat of like to defeat the Soviet Union. That's essentially what it was.
What, to just say you defeated the Soviet Union? Was
Yeah.
it
I think it was a space race, but the Cold War.
The Cold War was, I mean,
They thought they were going to die.
that was to prove you are the global superpower. And it was a war fought in every front except a conventional war.
Right.
So
we're going to like all the more reason to fake it.
That's
honestly
true. There's that angle, but I think the evidence there with the reflectors and the satellite images showing the landings and such, I think that evidence shows that we did go. Trust me, there was a time where I was highly, highly skeptical, and I would think, if you want to defeat the Soviet Union and it's so hard to get there, just fake it. But I do think there's enough evidence to say that we did go.
I think you can take a little go-go gadget arm and put a reflector down.
Go-go gadget.
Yeah.
Go
But
gadget.
Also, okay, here's my other part of it. It's almost a bigger conspiracy for everybody that was involved in it to
No, that's true.
go along with it.
That's true.
And not have
Yes.
any deflectors or be like, hey, what? They like somebody goes home and tells their family that's not real, that's fake.
Yeah.
And so that may be with the amount of people that were involved in it, it may be the bigger conspiracy to fake it than to just go.
What if they could all be dead. They killed him quietly.
It is weird. Have y'all seen the video of the guy going around to like Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin of like, here's a Bible, put your hand on the Bible and swear that you went to the moon, and none of them did it. I think Buzz Aldrin actually punched the guy.
Really?
So it's stuff like that where it's like, you're not making the case very good, But
and it also happened at a time where we didn't know as much, and it was very hard to get any information out of the government. So you can see why people go, I have questions. Yes. Yeah, of course. It's different.
Yeah.
It's different now. And I think people will be watching this whole situation like a hawk to see. But at least they're trying.
Yeah.
There's that. Because we fail to comprehend the dangers. It just seems like, oh yeah, we're just going to go to space.
I will say though, Allison, that is good questioning evidence. It does make you go,
Yeah. Well, and then you've got that movie from last year,
Fly Me to the Moon. It's actually really good.
Is it really good?
It's really good. And then you go, are they just rubbing it in our faces now?
Allison's it's got an antenna.
My
on it.
antenna says yes.
I like it. You do realize we're going to have to keep these hats and we're going to have to put them on.
Yes.
Because they're awesome.
Yeah.
I think it's a whole segment.
It's a whole thing.
Maybe we just invented something new.
It's a good question because
allegedly.
Yeah. It's a good question.
Are we doing allegedly?
Yeah, want to do allegedly to end the show?
We
We have
can.
allegedlys.
Yeah. Are we going to do fun allegedlys or not? You go first if you're doing it.
I'm still mulling over my allegedly here.
All right, I'll let y'all choose. Do you want state executive committee closed primary allegedly, or do you want Kristi Noem's husband in pink hot pants allegedly?
Say less.
Well, first we got to do the button. Allegedly.
Are we doing allegedly in our hats?
Yeah, I think we continue.
Okay, I think we should.
Y'all, this story is just fit to be tied up in a southern magnolia tree. Except it happens in South Dakota. Is she North Dakota or South Dakota?
She is South. I don't know.
She's from one of those Dakotas.
I can't remember.
Nobody knows anything about it. Let's just say this is straight out of Washington, D.C. So as Kristi Noem allegedly is running around with Corey Lewandowski and has for years. I mean, it's the worst kept secret in D.C. Apparently, unfortunately, there is now an even worse story that has come out about her husband, Bryon, Bryon. Here is the New York Post headline. Kristi Noem, a.k.a. Cricket's killer, weighs in on report her husband lives a cross-dressing double life. The
Oh, man.
family was blindsided by this. Oh, Oh, she's just devastated because Brian, with an O, chatted up women from the so-called bimbofication fetish scene, in which adult performers augment their breasticles with massive amounts of saline to achieve a Barbie doll-like appearance. Now, Cricket Killer was sent some pictures of Brian wearing pink hot pants and flesh-colored skin-tight suits, in which he wore a very tight shirt and put balloons in his shirt to mimic comically oversized breasticles. Christy, Cricket Killer, Noam asks for our prayers at this very difficult time. She has all these children, and her and Corey just don't know how they're going to handle this, although they're kind of grateful for this, allegedly, because now they look fairly normal. But look at them. Look how far they come. They look so Southern and
What do they
happy
look
in
like now?
1992. I don't know. She's got so much work done.
She doesn't look like the same
But
person.
Brian apparently likes the hot pants and the big breasticles.
Wow.
That is bizarre.
And some of the bimbofication models had sent Christy, Cricket Killer, the photos of him.
Oh, darling.
It's really not good. Is there anybody good?
That is the question.
That sounds like a Montgomery story.
Nope. JP, do you have your story?
I do have my story.
Okay.
So during this government shutdown, the senators and representatives have decided that they're going on a vacay, leaving town. Well, the TMZs, I'm hearing from the younger folks around me. I ain't got a phone myself. I'm hearing from them that they're taking photos of these representatives as they're going around and having margaritas on our dime. Now, allegedly, Lindsey Graham is living it up down in the Disney worlds. Have y'all seen this?
I saw him at lunch with that child and that woman, but that's all I saw.
You don't have a picture of him, do you?
Well, it's funny you say that because, well, first of all, okay, yes. Here's Lindsey Graham with a toy that he got at the Disney World. I'm not kidding you.
I am very bothered
by
that toy.
A bubble wand?
Allegedly, he's getting himself a toy down at the Disney Worlds, and not only that, but he's getting on Space Mountain. Space Mountain is being ridden by Lindsey Graham on our dime. Now, there's an explanation for this. Allegedly, President Trump sent him on a vacation as a reward for finally getting the Iranian war started, because this has been Lindsey Graham's dream, his fetish for years, to get America to be in a war with Iran. And now that we've gotten it, President Trump is giving him a reward, a vacation. You go down to Disney World and he's saying, "Daddy, watch me twirl," with his wand. That's the first thing when he goes back to the White House. He's going to get that toy of his and say, "Daddy, watch me twirl." And that's his reward for getting the Iranian war started. So allegedly, that's what this is. But the Space Mountain riding, the toy grabbing from Senator Graham, makes you wonder if the homosexual claims are correct, but also a bit bizarre that we are in a shutdown and you are riding the Space Mountain.
That is very odd.
Lindsey Graham is the opposite of bimbofication.
Well,
what's the gay version of that?
I don't even want to think about it. Listen, mine's just right quick, everybody. I just wanted y'all to know, y'all may have heard a story real quick yesterday about the Secret Service agent who shot himself.
What?
Do you remember they said he was on Jill Biden's detail? He shot himself. I mean, they said that he just shot himself in the leg. Maybe they said the thigh. He was using his Glock light, the light on his Glock, to look for let's see, his Glock's flashlight to try to find his cell phone in the trunk of the SUV. And it turns out they were trying to save his dignity, but that Secret Service guy actually shot himself in the butt.
You don't say.
That is the update from Not the Bee. It was the butt, everybody. It wasn't the leg. The poor thing done shot himself in the butt.
And the buttocks.
I think he's going to be okay, though.
How, Phyllis, that just doesn't make any physical sense in the physics sense. Because how do you look for your cell phone with a flashlight but shoot yourself in the butt?
It takes talent, Amma.
Are you going up in between your legs to look for your flashlight?
I am just reporting the news that I have seen. That's all. But he done shot himself in the butt.
Sounds about like our Secret Service. Well, allegedly, we'll be back tomorrow. We'll see. Actually, Abs won't be here. It'll just be us on our own, JP.
That's a dangerous situation.
But y'all have a good amount of fun, though, okay?
We'll see you tomorrow on the right side.